Minister of Communications Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams has paid an admission of guilt fine of 1,000 rand for contravening the lockdown regulations. This after a picture of her having lunch with former Member of Parliament Mduduzi Manana and friends at his house in Johannesburg during the lockdown went viral on social media. President Cyril Ramaphosa placed Ndabeni-Abrahams on special leave for 2 months, one of which is unpaid. He also ordered her to apologize to the nation for ignoring the lockdown regulations. And for more on this, we're now joined via Skype by Political Analyst Ongama Mtimka. Thanks so much indeed for joining us. Welcome to the program. Has this situation, this admission of guilt and this payment of a fine made the minister's position untenable?
It does, Peter. It was expected because the explanation that was brought to the fore was implausible right from the start, the one that Mduduzi Manana brought forward. So it was expected that at some stage when the legal course of action has been taken, this would be the outcome, that she would be found guilty, and there would be a question about what sanction the court would deem fit in this case. So I think it's a culmination of what was expected, and it also shows that when the legal processes move fast, it is very easy to deal with politicians who some get found to be on the wrong side of the law, but rely on these prolonged processes of arriving at court decisions in ways that then help those whom those politicians account to take action. So now I think the question would be what next, both in terms of what the president is likely going to do, as well as what I believe the minister should do in this case.
All right, I don't want to belittle this in any way, but some people might say, hang on, 1,000 rand fine, you might get that just for a traffic violation. So how serious is it for her to lose her job if that's what might happen?
Well, Peter, the court may have, or the NPA may have gone through a number of considerations before arriving at that decision. I know that the fine that is stated in the regulations is up to 100,000, if I'm not mistaken. I may have seen 100 too many, but they may have factored in the fact that there's already a sanction by the president that has got a financial implication, and as such, they may have felt that 1,000 in the bigger scheme of things is an addition to whatever the ministerial salary she was going to lose in 1 month anyway. So in the bigger scheme of things, the court may have actually factored that in. Otherwise, if that's the only, they didn't factor that in, then this is a very small, fine for somebody of her stature and caliber.
All right. We're going to try and get hold of a legal expert to perhaps assist us in terms of members of parliament and ministers, if they are found guilty, what their legal standing is, if they have criminal records. But so who should fire first? Is it the minister to resign or the president to fire?
I think it's expected that the minister would resign in this case because, I mean, she has a criminal record. Notwithstanding what the law may be permitting, I think it's only fair that for the kind of a state that the president wants to build following the time of immunity by executives for many wrongdoings, this may be an opportunity for her to fall on her sword. The one of the principles of justice, is that there must be an application of passionless reason. And I think this is an opportunity for that in this case. You never celebrate the fall of anybody, leaders of society, but I think that for the principle of justice, it's important that the right course of action is taken here. If she doesn't fall on her sword, I think the president's hand will be forced in this case, because very soon we understand that the NPA is going to make some moves on cases which are before it that involve very powerful politicians within the ANC. And I think that we would want to see again in that time that those politicians that would be fingered in cases of corruption would be acted against, so that we keep this momentum of consequences being faced by those that are found on the wrong side of a due process or the law itself.
All right. Are you saying that an apology and the suspension and the fine are just not enough to keep her in her job?
Outside of a court process, Peter, I would argue that those are enough because, one, they show that the person recognizes their wrongdoing, and two, they are willing to take a sanction that has been declared by the head of state. But when you factor in the law, you are dealing with matters of justice where political accommodation should not even be entertained, because whenever that happens, it actually corrupts the system and subjects legal processes to power dynamics in a country, and you never want to be in that position as a country. When there's a criminal issue that is at hand, I'm afraid the room left for political accommodation becomes very narrow, because you want to set an example that justice would not be compromised on the altar of political relationships.
All right, so we're going to have to leave it there, but thanks very much indeed for those insights, and we wait to see what happens. But from what you're saying, it probably doesn't look great for the Communications Minister at this stage. Thank you so much indeed for your time.